So on June 2nd, we got the death of, I believe it's Peter Sallis. He was the voice of Wallace on Wallace and Gromit. If that's not how you pronounce it, I'm sorry. I've honestly never watched the show before. For whatever the reason, I was looking through CNN articles one day, and this one stuck out to me, and I instantly found a bunch of stuff. And whatever, his death completely by the numbers, along with countless other celebrity deaths that are by the numbers. I don't know how many I've documented, so I figured I would make this video for someone who even, really knows more about this person, maybe enjoys this show. I want to show you that his death, even though he was old, was still coded by the numbers. And if you don't know what gematria is, what I'm going to talk about in this video, I'll leave a link in the description of what I am talking about. It's called How to Gematria. You'll understand more of what I'm talking about. And if you think it's just a coincidence, please go back and look through my however many videos I have on YouTube. You can come to my blog that I'll leave in the link description as well. There's countless examples of the same thing over and over of what I'm going to talk about in this video. So first thing, when I looked this guy up, I noticed that his birthday was on 2/1 of the year 21. Pretty interesting pattern, 2/1 of the year 21. And he's famous for being Wallace on Wallace and Gromit, and Wallace in gematria equals 21. He also died on June 2nd, and June 2nd is the day that leaves 212 days in the year. 212. It looks a lot like 21 forwards and backwards, right? 21, 21. He also died then 121 days after his birthday, right? He dies on the day that leaves 212 days in the year, dies 121 days after his birthday. Once again, the 1-2-2-1 combination. If you write out 21, it equals 42 and 96. Remember, he died at the age of 96. The word Freemason equals 42 and also 96. Also, Wallace and Gromit equals 158. Freemasonry in the reverse method equals 158. But trust me, there's a lot more in regards to these 21 and 12 stuff with this guy. So, the character on the TV show, it says that he lived at 62 West Wallaby Street. And then now this guy dies on 6-2, right? 62 West Wallaby Street. Now he dies on, the voice of him dies on 6-2. And Wallace on the show, his birthday is August 7th. If you go from 6-2 to August 7th, it's a span of 66 days. Which, who knows? Reminds me of 2 6s as well. Like 6-2. But who knows? But if you go from the date that Peter Sallis died to the date of Wallace, the character he plays, birthday, a span of 66 days. And if you go from the birthday of Peter Sallis to the birthday of Wallace, it's a span of 6 months, 6 days. I also thought it was interesting that Wallace's dog on the show then, according to the show, he was born on 2/12, right? 21 and 12 yet again. And if you go from Wallace on the show, from his birthday to the birthday of his dog, it's a span of 6 months, 6 days. 6 months, 6 days. The actual guy who voices the guy, 6 months and 6 days apart born. And then he dies 66 days before the birth of his character. It also showed in the article that he was famous for Last of the Summer wine. And if you go to Wikipedia, which is completely trolled by the Freemasons and the people in power, the whatever you want to call them, the elitists, whatever you want to call them, but they always write the stupidest stuff ever on Wikipedia that makes absolutely no sense, and there's no reason that it's even written in there. Like they'll talk about someone's famous brother and they're 8 years old and they got in a bike wreck or something, you know? Like it's something that's very irrelevant to anything that was even connected to this person, but they have weird things like that all the time in Wikipedia, and then they sync up when someone dies. It's completely synced up to, you know, their death and whatnot. It's really funny actually when you start noticing the pattern and you realize what Wikipedia actually is. If you ever go to try to change something on Wikipedia, trust me, there's someone there that's changing it within the next hour. Even if you're using a correct source and a cited source. But anyway, what Wikipedia writes in here on Last of the Summer Wine is they write, the BBC confirmed on June 2nd, 2010, that Last of the Summer Wine would no longer be produced and the 31st series would be its last. You know, how interesting. So this show, The Last of the Summer Wine, was confirmed to have its last season on 6/2, and then this guy, Peter Sallis, dies on 6/2, 7 years later. The show also premiered in the year 73. 73 is the 21st prime number. He was born on 2/1 of the year 21. Dies 121 days after his birthday. We also just had the death of Roger Moore not too long before this. And, you know, he was the original James Bond. If you've followed my blog, I've talked a lot about the space theme and whatnot. James Bond, pretty important to the space theme. He even goes to the space. And on one of the movies that Roger Moore's in, they even make fun of the hoaxed moon landing and whatnot, you know. And what I pointed out in this blog post is that these two guys were on a show called The Persuaders together, and it was on, I don't remember what the season was, but it came out on December 10th of 1971, 12/10. So once again, the 121 combo. And, you know, I'm not going to go into super detail, but in England, they would write that as 10/12, which reminds us of October 12th as well, you know. That's the way these calendars are set up. That's the way the calendar works. The calendar completely created by, you know, the Freemasons, the people in power, the people who understand this knowledge and they use it to their advantage. But 10/12 is also the day Christopher Columbus discovered America, supposedly, you know, but there's already people here. But a lot of stuff that I've been talking about is in connection with that. The space theme is in connection with the flat earth stuff. And maybe if I ever get to it and I make the video in regards to Roger Moore's death and how it connects to all that, I'll go in more in depth with that. I just wanted to make a short video, show all these 21 stuff around this guy. I've never even heard of the show, but it's obvious that, once again, you know, death by numbers. Famous for a character named Wallace, who equals 21. His birthday, 2/1 of the year 21. No wonder he was chosen to voice that character. Then he dies 121 days after his birthday. So, whatever. We'll leave it at that. It's another case. Have a good one.